So, welcome again. I refer to the Gospel reading from Matthew chapter 4, and I'll not read it here and now because I don't actually have it in front of me, but just read through this passage of Jesus being in the wilderness or the wild and being tempted by Satan. And all that was going on there, at the start of his ministry, and after these 40 days in the wilderness. So we just marked this story at the start of Lent, as we journey into this very particular season, and just maybe to pick up on some of the things within that story. The first temptation is about the lack of bread, the lack of food that Jesus has had, his hunger. And Jesus says, "Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Food is what we need. We need to eat, we need to be able to survive, we need to get our sustenance. I just happen to be in a part of Galway where there's plenty of food on offer, plenty of different types, and we could have all we need as long as you have the money, so many different types, different selections of food that we can have, and maybe we're used to having that within our society today, but at its very basic, and I suppose Jesus is speaking here of bread, and there are many references of course to bread by Jesus. Later, he's the bread of life, and the bread symbolises his broken body. And so there's something about the simplicity of bread, even in our variety of food, that is just useful here, because actually it's coming at a point of meeting the basic longing in life. Bread is that basic food, and meets a fulfillment of a basic desire that we wouldn't be hungry, and that's where the enemy is coming at in regards to this attack on Jesus. That it's about his basic longing, and coming where Jesus was at this greatest point of weakness. And the temptation could have been associated to give in to that particular longing, and that's where temptation always exists, is at the place of longing. It's at the place where we need something, or where we feel we're just longing for something, whatever it is, whatever that is in life. It could be related to our bodies, to food or water. It could be related to our feelings that we're maybe not good enough, and that we need some satisfaction in life, or we need some fulfillment in life, or there's something wearing away at us. It could be to do with different desires, and so we have to watch our desires, because they are real. We need these things. We need our food. We need all sorts of things in life, and companionship, and whatever it is. But there are dangers where we need to fulfill these things in a healthy, good, meaningful way. I suppose I'm struck also that, there's many things we could say about this passage, but the setting that Jesus was in was the wilderness or the wild. And I'm not exactly in the wilderness at the moment. Maybe, I suppose these plants are the closest thing I can get to maybe a more countryside setting. Um, and and the I just picked up on two different Bible readings, two different passages, two different versions of this particular story. And one said about the wilderness, and the other used the term the wild places. And we often in life just find ourselves in these wild places where things could be chaotic, things could be beyond what we could imagine or what we could consider to be reasonable or expected. Or there could be, in terms of wilderness, places that are dry and barren, and things aren't just quite just feel harsh, or they feel like they're just not going anywhere. These are seasons that Jesus experienced. These are seasons that Jesus knows, that God knows where we're at, and that we go through. And some of those seasons might be because we've been marginalised, or we've been sidelined by others, or maybe we know the pain of being labelled in some way. And so these are places that are not unfamiliar to God, and those also may be connected to our longings, our longing for company, or desire for something more meaningful or in life. So let's seek to fulfill those longings in healthy ways. Let's be blessed to know that God knows where we're at, and God has experienced these things, and God is there for us. I'm trying to remember the last verse of verse 11 of that passage. There's the dismissal of Satan, and Jesus goes on to bigger, more fulfilling things, and an active ministry. And if you're going through a difficult, barren, wilderness, wild season at the moment, I hope and we trust that God will lead us into better times ahead. Amen.